at this. All right. Hello, how's it going? Can you hear me okay? I will try and project over all of the chitty chats and whatnot. If you can, as much as possible, slide forward, come on up here. Don't be bashful, you got wheelie chairs. It'll make it much easier for the folks like myself that are standing up here on the podium to try and rap with you a little bit. I don't know if you can hear me well in the back or not. I tend to speak loudly anyway. And for the rest of you folks that are coming up here, make sure you do the same.
We can hear you.
Thank you, appreciate you. All right. This is the Austin Kickass Digital Marketing on Any Budget event. So that's great, I'm into that. My name is Tony Delmercado. I'm the COO and co-founder of a digital marketing agency called Hawke Media. We're based out in Santa Monica, California. We've worked with about 265 brands in the last 2.5 years. We were voted one of the happiest places to work in LA, the fastest growing agency in LA. My co-founder and partner is on Forbes 30 Under 30. We've been written up in Entrepreneur and Business Insider and Forbes and Kiss Metrics and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm staying right there, so I'll be here for a while. If you want to ask me anything after the event, chat about digital marketing, chat about your company, chat about growth, chat about the wonderful world of business, I'm into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a few speakers. There'll be a little break in the beginning with a demo, or in the middle with a demo, and then we'll get back to having a couple beers and socializing, grabbing a sandwich or a cookie or whatever it is that you're into. So I encourage you to pay attention. I'm really stoked, actually. All of our sponsors that have helped us out put this event together, Steelhouse, Feedonomics, Shopify, and then some of the people that are talking here in SandBox. These are things that we actually use, and that's cool when you get to put on an event with platforms that you think are actually valuable. And the first one in particular, Feedonomics, we've got Colleen. Is it Fries? Where are you?
You got it.
I hear a voice. Oh, there you are. Perfect. Fries, perfect. I just met Colleen today. That's awesome. She's going to talk about feed optimization, and Feedonomics is, truthfully, it's a really cool platform. We've probably used it for 30-ish of the clients that we've worked with over the past couple of years, and it's bitching. So anyway, give Colleen a little hand when she comes up here.
Okay, so to kick this off, how many people, by a raise of hands, know what a data feed is? Okay, good. Pretty nice number on it. Bad. So I'll just kind of explain that first as a kickoff. Basically, a data feed is an organized way to take any of your data and get it out to the marketing channels that are out there. So one of the primary things that we go ahead and get across is like your Google Shopping feed, your Bing feed, any of your data for clients that have to go out to display vendors as well. We go ahead and optimize that data and get that out to the appropriate vendors for our clients. For the most part, it's agencies. So today I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the ways that we can go ahead and optimize our feeds, as well as ways that you can do it all on your own as well. So having this knowledge, being able to empower you with that to go back to your clients if you have any, retail clients especially, that's what this presentation is more focused to, but it can also be done with your real estate, with any car sales on it, sending it out to different channels, even recruiters with job postings. You can optimize that data and get it out to different various channels that repost postings. So kind of kick it off here. I'm going to talk about first the importance of feed optimization, how it's going to be beneficial from the front end of a campaign, and then how to structure the back end of your feed to make it successful. And then lastly, some custom label strategies, which is geared more towards your Google Shopping or your Bing Shopping. So the importance. So there's a couple key attributes. If you see here, this is a listing. I went ahead and searched in chiffon maxi dress on it. Without having the titles, the descriptions, even the image links and prices optimized, these listings may or may not show up on it. So that data feed drives the relevancy of your products in the front end of campaigns. The other is quality matters. So if, for example, there's the pink floral chiffon, if you just went ahead and didn't have any color in there on it, that's not really quality data in there. If you don't have what type of dress it is, that it's a maxi dress, that's not really quality as well, because you're not giving more data. You need to give more, not less. The more information that you can put into a data feed, the more different combinations, tweaks, and adjustments that can be made into the back end to see how it furthers your front end of the campaign results. So here, why does it matter? The biggest one, which I've already alluded to, relevancy. So for example, if someone goes ahead and types in chiffon maxi dress on it, if you had just a red dress listed in there, not chiffon, the material that's made of, you're not gonna be as relevant. Granted, on the front end of the campaign, you can bid up higher to try to win those impressions, but you're not gonna be as relevant on it. Overall, then you're not gonna match to those queries. So if you wanna match to those queries better, or if you know your target audience instead is looking for satin, and you know those dresses have satin, providing that material in your feed is going to help with that relevancy and help you match those search queries that you're looking for. That's just another tweak you could do as well. It's gonna increase your impressions too. So of course, when you become more relevant for search queries, you're going to increase the amount of impressions that you're gonna be available for. So one of the biggest things we find when we go ahead and optimize a client's feed is after we've gone ahead and really made robust titles, robust descriptions, ask them for more data, give us your materials, give us your sizes, give us the dimensions of the product, give us maybe technical specifications, like especially if it's hardware. What are some of the specs that it's used for? Is it in metric on it? Getting that data goes ahead and leads to a big increase in impressions. You'll actually see that if anyone who's AdWords savvy, your search impression share will actually drop, which is a good thing because it means you've just opened yourself up to so many more queries out there. Next is more efficient CPCs. So that same query of the chiffon maxi dress on it, if you go ahead and optimize your feed, you'll all of a sudden start seeing your CPCs will go ahead and drop on that particular dress because the fact that you're now matching a lot more relevantly than previously. Oh, I think you added mobile. Oh, of course, mobile too. So if you're not keeping mobile in the back of your mind, especially with your feed on it, you need to, because more and more vendors out there, besides Google and Bing, even with Facebook, getting your links out there that are mobile optimized are highly important. Okay, next. Really need to, in order to win on products, you must closely reflect the user search queries. So one of the things we find a lot is we can go ahead and optimize the data from what our analysts particularly see coming into the feed and data, but you get a wealth of knowledge in the front end of AdWords and Bings of what those search queries that you're starting to get in, what you're seeing. So which ones are converting the most. Going ahead and letting us know that, okay, well maybe it is instead that people are looking for the term long. Maybe it's a change in the nomenclature people are using in their search queries. If you're seeing that, change that in your feed. Go ahead and see if it helps you and bolsters your results. It could go ahead and increase your conversions, or it could just increase your impression share. And this is just a great example here of going ahead and matching closely, like Nike running shoes. Granted, it's a branded term, so brand already, just like with text ads, is going to have a high weight and relevancy. But here, Nike's got it in there, as well as then it's running shoes, so they got running shoes. So when I was alluding to that search queries may have changed, if you're marketing to the UK, they're trainers. So your UK feed is not gonna go ahead and say running shoes, it's gonna say trainers because that's the type of search queries that those users and consumers are marking in. So, and this is actually a great little snippet from one of the main Google partner education program managers, Nicole Primo. If any of you guys watch any of the live video streams, Nicole does a lot of them. But data feed production is not unique anymore. There's no strategic advantage to just uploading feeds. So it's basically just don't set it, forget it, and put it up there on it. It's not benefiting you. They need to work hand in hand with the front end of your campaign and the back end of your feed. So to be more competitive, you need a feed. You need feed to feed a competitive advantage by having structured data. So basically, go ahead, work on that feed, and use it systematically.
Is this targeted only for sponsored ads, or is it also for driving organic traffic?
It's not organic. Anything with feed-based here this is all paid-based. But there's not any organic that I know of, vendor programs out there that actually run it organically anymore. Unfortunately, in the past 3 years, everything's kind of gone to a paid space. Except for the Find. I haven't checked on the Find recently. I know last year they were working still on a free and working towards a paid model, but That's about the only channel that I know of that still has some sort of organic. This is a couple of examples of how to structure your feed for success. So that example of maxi dress, we see this all the time. Go ahead and get a feed in. It's just very bland, blank data. Maxi dress, Paisley. That's it. That title is, that Paisley part is not even an attribute, and what we call in the feed is, each column is an attribute. That would be, the pattern is Paisley. Half the time we won't see pattern even populated, so that goes back to quality on it. Are you sending more data versus less, and how good is the quality? Next is what we would do to adjust it. So it's the brand, New York & Company, the color, the pattern, the style, and then what overall is the core noun on it. It's a dress. And then additional style and cut information, and then the sizing. So by adding more of those keywords, what do you think has happened? Anybody?
Less clicks.
What was that?
Less clicks.
Not less clicks, more clicks. By adding more data in there, you're gonna go ahead and get more clicks because you're just become more relevant. You've got more impressions out there. You are going to go ahead and get in front of more of those search queries that really align to that product the most. And then the rest on the front end of the campaign is a different discussion on how to really target that in. Now from the description side, there's a lot that could be done. Reach style nirvana and gorgeous glamour. Astra reinvented version of our all-time fave serpent is a taffeta gown. This is just a slightly different example, but you see how all of a sudden it's really long? It's because we've gone ahead and added a few other keywords in here, like V-neckline, spaghetti straps, pleated skirt, gold cuff on it, the different types of materials on it. So if people go ahead and put in here polyester, nylon taffeta, or spandex on it, if someone's looking with those key search queries, it's not gonna hold as much relevancy as your title, but your description is still another core spot to put additional data into. Okay. Google product category. So, and this can also be done with Bing too, but having a more granular Google product category is going to help you in a couple different ways. In this case, apparel, accessories, clothing, dresses. If we're really looking at just, maybe it's your everyday dress, then that kind of works. But if it's more of an evening gown, or if it is for maybe your bridal party, having in your feed aligned to just clothing and dresses is not going to add value to your relevancy on it. So if you think of it, it's part of that fraction of the algorithm that Google comes up with. They're taking bits of every single part of your feed and weighting it differently. So if you go ahead and put maybe a category up or the incorrect category, you're not benefiting from it. If anything, it could hurt you from actually reaching that query that you really want to get in front of. Another one here is product type. Product type is probably one of my favorite attributes. I'm going to tell you why. It's one of the, and especially Google's feed, it's one of the few attributes that could do two things. One, you can change it to whatever you want it to be, and you can see it in the front end of the campaign. Compared to, there's custom labels in Google. Custom labels, you can only have one set of values in it. But in here, you can actually segment it. So it means you can slice and dice that information and think of the groupings on it. So maybe in the front end of your campaign for the bridesmaids dresses, you instead want to see how many people are searching for satin and taffeta and chiffon. You can go ahead and group all of those products that have that type of material and see what are my click-through rates on taffeta versus satin. Am I spending too much? Maybe a satin's getting a lot of query hits, but it's not really converting well. I need to move the spend off of the silks and move over to, taffeta that's performing better. It helps you be able to group the front end of your campaigns better. So another great reason why the back end of your feed really drives additional insights for the front end of your campaign. As you can see, you can get even more granular. For Google, you can actually segment down 7 tiers. It doesn't have to be all these. For a product type, you can actually segment it differently too. But having all these keyword-rich details in here, as well as being able to think strategically on your product set, think of it as a tree. Group it down like branches of a tree. What kind of buckets together? That's how product type can help you the most. Okay, so overall structuring. So a lot of the opportunities that we come across in the front end of campaigns is a lot of the different trims and dimensions, additional data, anything that's more data versus less. And this is even true for your, let's see, realtors sending over house dimensions for rooms, additional pictures on it, more data versus less. Don't go ahead and trim things down. But the poorest things that we usually see for poor quality in a feed is the material, the pattern, the size type, not using attributes that different vendors say, send it over to us. We'll go ahead and use it. So Google and Bing want your data. Go ahead and send it across. It's not gonna go ahead and hurt the campaign, it's only gonna benefit from it. And this is just a few of those different variations of data that you can go ahead and have in there. So send across V-line, send it across A-line, short sleeves, or if it's long sleeves, checkered, if it's petite, the material type, more data versus less. Okay. How do you know if your feed is optimized? So we have this great checker. I love this checker. It goes ahead and kind of does a check mark if you're on our platform, but just gives you kind of a quick idea of some of the kind of regulations that Google puts in place. Your length of your titles, the length of your descriptions on it. Does your title contain the size? Does your title contain the color? These are just common trends that people go ahead and put in their search queries. So if you're shopping, don't you go ahead and put your color in? Like, I need a black shirt for tonight's event, or I need a different pair of suiting pants. You're looking for color. You're looking for the size of it potentially. Well, in my case, I'm looking for the size. Then you could also see if the title contains any white space. So is it formatted correctly on it? A lot of times data that's coming out of these platforms don't have the HTML stripped out of it. So is it stripped out, or does it have white space that needs to be truncated? The other parts too, does it contain HTML or any HTML entities on it? If it does, that's just a quick highlight. We need to have that fixed before you send it across. Has anyone done a search query before on like Google Shopping and looked at the descriptions and seen kind of your question marks and triangles pop up? Anybody? You see a couple nodding heads. So that's because that HTML wasn't stripped out and the HTML entities weren't stripped out. That's exactly why. Other things too is, let's see, we can actually go ahead and query that raw data that's in the feed. So instead of taking down your Excel spreadsheet each time, loading that into your downloads on it, the cool part about our platform is I can put a quick query in, is any of these titles contain the brands, or how many of these have, like we'll go back to that example of chiffon. So I have a good grouping of chiffon products in my list. So if I have like 100 products, okay, that gives me a good idea of how many products out there have chiffon in them without looking to the front end of my campaign. Maybe I need to add that data into the front end of a title instead. Okay, this is probably my favorite part. Custom label strategies on it. So how many people are versed with AdWords? Okay, how many people are, have used, even lately, shopping campaigns? Okay, cool. So custom labels are a key way to go ahead and segment any of your data that's out there. So I particularly like your price buckets. So what you do is you go ahead and look through your data, see kind of where does those product sets lie. So if I have 5,000 products, for example, and out of those 5,000 products, 1,500 of them have a price underneath $5. Do you think we want to bid up on those products? Nope. Definitely don't want to bid up on those products if they go ahead and eat too much spend, because those are products underneath $5. But you wouldn't know that unless you put that data into a custom label. So you can see that on the front end of the campaign and bucket those products differently for different insights. Similar example is profit and margin on it. I know a lot of clients don't like to give profit and margin numbers. It's perfectly fine, but ask. Nothing wrong with asking and saying, we want to make sure we're spending your budget wisely and against the products that make you the most money in comparison to how much we're spending on them. Been successful in positioning to clients that way, and actually it goes ahead and helps your campaigns, whether you structure it from your product group level or if you structure it over at the campaign level. Maybe you want to have one campaign be a priority for anything with a very, very high margin. Maybe it's a 50% margin on it. Structuring your campaigns out and just filtering those 50% margin products into your main campaign, and anything that's got a low margin on it, you can have that discussion with the advertiser. Do you really want any visibility on these $5 products? I've only ran into it once where a client said yes, and it's because it's a type of product that people buy multiple of. So where it makes sense, because they're not just buying one at $5, they're buying like 10, 20 products at that. So, but that's probably the exception, not the norm. Another one is performance-based. This one we like to do because we can actually join the data back from AdWords into our platform and let advertisers see it on the front end. We can create a rule that basically if maybe it had 100 clicks, so it's had good visibility, but maybe it hits like a spend threshold of $50. It spent $50, but it's never converted and it's had 100 clicks. Okay, we want to put that as not converting. That way, you can take a slightly different bid strategy on the front end of the campaign to then say, these items we don't want to bid as aggressively on. And they're automatically going to dynamically change into the appropriate bucket. So you have your not performers, then you have your converters, the ones that are converting, and then you're going to have another set of ones that just, you don't have enough data on them. They haven't hit 100 clicks, they haven't spent $50 yet, they just haven't had enough visibility. So that will at least be an indicator to you, here I need to raise the bids a little bit, get some visibility on them, and once they don't perform anymore, it's automatically going to jump to a converting bucket or a not converting bucket. Another one is seasonal and event-based. This one's probably my favorite. If you have any clients that are seasonal, mark it in your feed. Know if it's Halloween coming up and they sell a decent amount of Halloween products, you're gonna wanna push those items in the front of the campaign. You can have another campaign already set up with those seasonal products, so all you have to do is flip the switch and then start monitoring the bids to make those adjustments. And then event-based. This is a great one. If it's like running a tire, maybe it's different events in different geographic areas. You could still go ahead and target different cities and say, okay, there's a big marathon happening over here and that advertiser sells running a tire. You're gonna wanna go ahead and maybe create an event-driven targeted local campaign just to try to get people that maybe here, I gotta get a new pair of running shoes, or I need another top, or I need another pair of pants and track pants on it. You can create event-based campaigns by just having it marked in the feed and pulling out those certain products to promote. The other is parent SKUs. So what I see a lot of is if you think of products, you have your parent level and then you have your child level. The child level is all the different variations. So you may have this shirt in orange, green, yellow, and then you're gonna have the variation of all the different sizes it comes in. That parent level is just what's the overall style. That's the parent level on it. So by going ahead and grouping them up at the parent level, you can go ahead and just see, is there a certain style that's performing well? Are you actually seeing performance maybe spike on a new style that came out? So this is particularly good for brands that are out there. So if you're monitoring a direct brand, breaking it out by your item group makes a lot of sense because one, they can push on it. If there's a particular new item that comes in, you've already grouped it up to the parent level. You don't have to see all the different child variations and be like, I need to pull out all these and push out all on them. You don't. You can just push out on the one style that is performing the best or that you need to show more visibility on. Okay, then next. Inventory levels. This one is great for if you have a client that's really trying to push certain inventory, have them send their inventory levels in, not just is it in stock or is it out of stock. If you send your inventory levels across, you can actually put that into your custom label and even create a rule. If it's greater than a certain amount, go ahead and put this as high priority products to push because it's got a lot of high inventory. Or maybe there's a particular sale and they want to push a particular item, then go ahead and push it. Push it out there and put it into your feed so you can see it on the front end of your campaign. Bestsellers, I put bestsellers here, but it's kind of with a caveat because bestsellers, I get a lot of people that say, these are the ones that by the data it's bestsellers and these are the ones by that I think are the bestsellers on it. Have data to back it up if you're gonna put that they're the bestsellers. Be able to know that information. If you're talking with maybe an advertiser that is like, oh, I'm not sure, ask them for data first so that way you're not just marking something down as a bestseller and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, the bestseller campaign did not do so well. It's probably you didn't have the data to back it up to help push it further. Okay, so that basically wraps it up. Does anyone have any questions regarding different custom label strategies? I have a few more minutes, so by all means.
Yeah, the keywords that you're matching, like when you get more clicks, do you match, or do you have settings for matching phrases or just individual words? Because if you have more keywords,
So when it comes to your question is regarding
Different
keywords, and then how do you go ahead and control your keywords in the campaigns? So
Yeah, because if you do one word, it's gonna get way too many. But if I need to match this phrase,
okay. So being able to match a phrase is kind of difficult in the front end of shopping campaigns, because unlike text ads where you can put positive keywords, you only have negative keywords where you can add. So you have to really funnel your traffic. A good example of this is branded search queries. So if, for example, you have, trying to think of Nike, and you created a high priority, this goes to front end campaign settings, you have a high priority campaign and a low priority campaign. What you would go ahead and do in your high priority campaign is put in there anything Nike. So you'd actually put it as a broad match, just Nike, so that way it pushes that any search queries with Nike to a separate campaign, so you can monitor that high priority campaign for cost and spends. And it tells Google, this is your high priority, but since that search query came in with Nike, I need to go to that low priority campaign and look for the bid there. Same thought process actually works with long tail and short tail queries. So if you have something that has, let's just say, cocktail dresses on it, very broad, very high funnel on it, what you would do in that case is you would actually put cocktail dresses as an exact match into your high priority campaign. What that does is if just that core phrase comes in again, Google's not gonna look to your high priority campaign, it's gonna go look to that lower priority because you've blocked it with a negative. It's going to then roll that short tail query to that campaign. It's actually very successful for most advertisers to do that because you'll save on some of your spend costs. That help?
yeah.
Do you do this as a service? I missed the first few minutes.
Okay, so the feed optimization part, that's what my company goes ahead and does. We actually have a platform that does the optimization of the back end of the feed. I'm kind of one of the people that toe the line between the back end of the feed and the front end of the campaign, so I know how they kind of integrate together.
So this is you have an algorithm which automatically does this, or is it done by a person?
So we actually have a platform that pushes out the feeds to all the different systems. We have the platform goes ahead and makes some adjustments, but not a lot. We can create automatic send outs of feed. We can go ahead and make transformations. So like if we wanted to have it dynamically adjust the titles, an analyst works on it the first time. After that, any new data that comes in looks to those rules and automatically does it.
And what does that service cost, and how much is it actually increasing
The cost is a separate conversation, and we usually like to do a demo, but we can definitely talk after. So come meet with me. Anyone have any additional questions?
So the main benefit of
Sorry.
So,
using
the products I'm selling on my website, I wanted my website to be very clean and simple. So I didn't want a whole lot of copy with a lot of descriptions and all that. So is there a way to keep my copy that the consumer sees simple, but have all these keywords, but they're invisible to the consumer, but they still feed into all this stuff?
Yep, so if you have it kind of bucketed separately, it could be then fed into their system, and then we can combine it all together and optimize it and then push it out. Sorry, you had an additional question, sorry.
Oh, it's, so your main thing is we give you data in one format and then you tailor it to each channel?
Yep, so our platform goes ahead and tailors it to every single channel out there. Anything from like Facebook dynamic ads to Google Shopping to Shop Style to, I mean, there's a dozen. So you have Connexity and eBay Commerce Network. So
What's a good budget to run a campaign using PLAs?
really depends on your product set too. So if you have a small product set, I usually say a good test budget is anywhere between at least maybe $100 a day tops. That'd be your max range on it. But if you have a large product set on it, you probably want to go a little bit slower, but you want a sizable amount of budget just to start with. I'd probably say anywhere between like 500 to 1,000. It just really depends on your product set. If you have a large variety in your product set, you're going to become limited by budget really, really quickly because you're going to have so much variety of keywords. However, if you have a very, it's all the same type of category, then you can probably go on the lower side of a starting budget and not be limited by budget to begin with. Any other questions? Okay. I'm going to hand the floor back over to our gracious host here.
Yeah, and obviously everyone's going to be hanging out, so if you have questions for Colleen or anyone else when we get towards the end of the night, that is all good. Also, this is Scott. This is Scott Ponywaz. This is our Hawke representative here in Austin, Texas. He put on this event, so give him a round of applause. He's the guy actually pulling the strings. I just fly in and talk a little bit, and then I leave. So Scott's the guy you really want to talk to about anything substantive about Hawke Media here in Austin, Texas, which we're really excited about. So we're going to do a quick demo with SandBox Commerce. And I just met Ed a moment ago, but I think you guys are going to dig this. It seems like they're able to do something really neat with your existing platform and how it translates to mobile. And so I'll give you your time, Ed. Come on up.
Check my line. I was going to thank Scott as well. I know it's a lot of work. We definitely value the partnership of Hawke Media, and thanks for the opportunity to present. As Tony said, I'm going to give a quick demo. I'm going to start off with some high-level insights on mobile. First of all, who here does not have a mobile phone? Okay, I think it's no longer a trend, it's reality. I think that mobile device is the way, the insights into your consumers. Average person unlocks their phone 110 times per day, and that previously had worked at Retail Me Not, and we were seeing the trend with retailers where traffic shifting from desktop to mobile, and currently over 53% of traffic on average is originating from a mobile device. And I think the key thing is the conversion's not caught up to desktop, but when there's a $300 billion mobile commerce market out there, it will catch up. And that $300 billion mobile commerce market is estimated to be $850 billion in the next 2 years. So what is one way to harness the power of mobile? It's via a native mobile app. Mobile users today, smartphone owners today, have over 37 apps installed on their phone. They're using 12 apps per day, and they're spending 5 hours of time on their phone. What is so powerful about a native mobile app? It is the window into your consumer. It's the one opportunity you have to reach your consumers anytime, anywhere. You have the ability to streamline the purchase process. Shoppers no longer want to have to fumble and figure out how to get an item to the cart. It also gives you the power of push and geo notifications. So if you have a sale going on in your store, you can send out a promotion to those individuals that are in that particular area. It also gives you the ability to just notify consumers and be top of mind on the front of your shoppers' phones. You may say that's great, but why do only 2% of retailers have native apps? It's due to the cost, both from a hiring perspective. You have to hire either your internal team or outsource to an agency. It can cost upwards of $300,000 to create a native app. We're talking about native apps, not simply a mobile site wrapped and called an app. It can also, it can take time, 3 to 12 months. That's where SandBox came in. We have eliminated these barriers. At SandBox Commerce, we're a mobile platform for simple and effortless mobile commerce. There is no upfront fee. We only make money when you, the retailer, makes money. We enable retailers to build, deploy, and manage apps, a native retail app, in less than a week. And I say less than a week. It's actually, we've seen retailers that have launched on our platform within a day. And so now I'm going to do a quick kind of a mock demo of how our product works. So if you went to sandboxcommerce.com, went to create an app, you can do it, and you don't have to be technical to do it. The most technical thing you need to know is your Shopify API number. So right here, this is JLab Audio, which is a Shopify client that's an app live in the App Store today. The first screen, you enter some basic information, your store name, you upload a logo, you also do a description for what you want your store to read in the App Store. You then determine your e-commerce platform. We've integrated with BigCommerce, Shopify, and a few other platforms. So once you enter your credentials, such as your Shopify store name and your API, we pull all that information. You don't have to have another inventory source. We pull real-time what your inventory is in your Shopify backend, as well as your creative images and categories. You then have the ability to customize the categories. In talking to retailers, we've determined that Some retailers want their mobile app experience to mirror their desktop, but others want to have a unique experience to really engage the consumer. So we give retailers the opportunity to enable and drag and drop the categories they want to show in their native app via this module. And the nice thing is this is what the editor looks like, so it's a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. You can see the app as you're building it. One thing with our app, we continually make updates every week. So every week we're taking customer feedback and making improvements to the platform. And one thing we realized is retailers wanted the ability to have a custom marquee on their homepage of their app. They didn't want to just have one image, so we created the homepage marquee where a retailer can add up to 5 images that will scroll through on the homepage of their app and deep link to categories within the app. The next step would be custom pages. You want to have unique content, and in this case, JLab Audio wanted to give shoppers the ability to burn in their headsets. For those that aren't audiophiles, you should really burn in your headsets, I've learned, which really basically makes you have the crispest, clearest sound possible. So they created this burn-in feature. So now when you buy a pair of headphones at Target or Walmart from JLab Audio, they have a notification in the packaging that says download the app, and you can burn in your headphones on the way home. You also have the ability, a retailer has the ability to add blogs, to add video, to add really rich content in this section to engage the users. The next is features. We're continually adding new features to our mobile app, and this shows you can simply toggle on and off various features such as Facebook login, Google login, push notifications, and geo-targeting. The one thing I'm not going to go through in this demo is the admin panel that enables you to manage those push notifications in geo. We have a very powerful dashboard that gives you the opportunity to control how you're sending pushes. You can buffer them. So this is where the feature marketplace, and every time you kind of log into the editor, at least weekly, you'll probably see new features and things added as we take customer feedback and make this more powerful. Social integration, it is what it says, the ability to link to your Twitter. All of you are investing a lot in your social presence. So by having a Twitter, Instagram link on the app, if someone has Instagram on their phone, we will automatically deep link from your retailer app into the Instagram account you have. Finally, branding. Branding is very important to a retailer. We know that you've invested a lot in your brand, so we give the retailers the opportunity to customize the app experience, to have their branding guidelines reflected in this app that's going to connect them with their consumers anytime, anywhere. So once you go through those steps, there's the review process. You simply hit publish this app, then it goes to SandBox Commerce, where we have a QA team that's continually testing, vetting the app, making sure everything's legit and good, and then we submit it to the App Store. And typically, historically, it could take up to 2 to 3 months to get an app approved in the Apple Store particularly. We have seen it get down to as quickly as a week, if not a couple days, once you hit publish that app. And once you have the app published, the one thing is we only are successful if our retailers are successful, so we help them come up with plans and strategies on how you can leverage the app and get more downloads and get more activity on that app post-launch. And really you can create the app. It might take a few more minutes because I'd have to drag and drop some imagery, but in about that amount of time, you can go through these steps and create an app, a native mobile app. So with that, I just want to kind of see if there's any questions, and I would love to, anyone that would like a demo, feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, just give me a call, and definitely we can schedule a demo, but definitely open to any questions.
Is it only Shopify that you do?
No, we're integrated with Shopify and BigCommerce, and we can add a platform
So you said only
fairly
Shopify
quickly.
API?
No, I'm sorry?
Because you said all you need is Shopify.
That was in this case. In this Shopify, no, it'd be BigCommerce credentials. So we have Shopify, BigCommerce, and we're adding new platforms fairly quickly, and we can do it in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Yes.
Plans to add like an API, so people who don't have Shopify or BigCommerce can submit their data?
Yes, we have one now. I'll let Sterling address part of that too. See ya.
I'm with SandBox Commerce as well, and to this point, to your question, we do have an API. So currently the API is limited to really allowing you to completely overhaul the front end. So let's say you feel like the customization, the front
Yes, so our mobile 5, you can toggle it on or off, and so yeah, you can do push notifications, and we have buffering in place, so you don't bombard consumers too much.
Even abandoned cars.
Yep. Yeah.
People tend to window shop a lot on their mobile devices, but they actually buy usually when they get to their desktop or their laptop. Do you find when people are on apps, do they tend to buy more?
We have seen that they do tend to buy more just because the shopping flow kind of to cart is a lot more streamlined. But at the end of the day, too, they're engaging with the app. So it's balancing both because you want to engage the consumers, but you also want them to convert. But we are seeing higher conversion rates on the app. I mean, I think mobile's still lagging behind, but like I said, I feel like it's just a matter of time where the mobile conversion rates start being on par or exceeding desktop conversion.
What about something like Amazon, which is, I think, the biggest seller, and they also have apps? Is their apps, are people going to their apps, or are they still going through a browser?
For Amazon? I mean, I think with Amazon, a lot of people have the Amazon app. I mean, you'll hear a lot of stats that people have, those 12 apps. Amazon's definitely a highly frequented app. I think one of our arguments is that it's highly frequented. So people are going to have Amazon, but they also have their 2 or 3 favorite retailers. So if you don't have an app, you're not going to have that real estate on the phone to have a presence there.
But is a major part of Amazon's business now coming through the app?
Yes, yeah, they're very strong apps.
And so you have to make theirs look better than, you have to make it look better than Amazon, in other words, right?
Yeah, and I think the individuals that are going to download an app are typically the most loyal shoppers, as well as some new shoppers. So I think you have to give a compelling reason to engage within the app. That's what JLab Audio did by having the burn-in tool. So you want to make your app. I think a lot of them, we don't even compare it to Amazon. We're just like, we want to have the best looking and best elegant experience for the end shopper.
And you monetize this through a percentage of sales?
Correct, yeah, percentage of sale.
What's the percentage?
It's 7.5%.
Which is about what Amazon charges you to list on their site.
Yeah, and then there's no upfront fee.
No,
development, no,
whatever.
correct.
You take care of the whole thing, and you don't spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars making the app.
That's correct, yes. Yeah.
Nowadays, with the web apps, we can do exactly what a native app does in terms of push notifications and geolocation, but also it doesn't have to make the user update the app. Do you see that changing in the future?
I mean, I think
What's the question?
it was now with web apps, you can do similar things. So, but you don't have to update the app internally in the store. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, and you don't have to install anything on the phone, and so that means it's more practical for users to use web apps rather than native apps.
I mean, I think we see the functionality on native apps significantly more powerful with push and geo than the web apps. And
in addition to that, some native functionality like use of the camera, so for barcode scanning or anything like that, you can only do push notifications, really, and some geo-based notifications on web. There's a suite of things that you cannot do, you still cannot do on web.
What else other than the camera?
Camera, if you're doing anything with
personalization.
with iBeacon right now, you can't do anything with iBeacon using a web responsive application, as far as we know. And if it is, it's definitely experimental right now. But iBeacon is a commonplace in data. There are other things as well though.
So if someone downloads you an app, what type of demographic information are you privy to for the person who downloads the app? As the store or as the person who runs the app, what do you get from the consumer?
You're going to get their customer profile, particularly when they order and everything. You're going to get their email address and their phone number. So you're going to be able to target those individuals. And one thing we've done in our editor is made it where you can export the email addresses to then input into MailChimp or your email provider to target them. And
So
particularly with
you're getting a lot more
Facebook
than somebody
login, you're going to
signs up
get more
for
data.
newsletter.
I'm sorry?
So you're getting a lot more than if somebody's just signing up for your newsletter or that sort of thing.
Correct, yeah, you're getting all that personal data on that individual.
We're also getting like geo-based notifications, and that we integrate with Facebook and Google, so their profiles, all that information from their Facebook profile, so we pull in what Facebook allows us to do.
And so we would get all that.
Not yet. We're not exposing all that to the retailers yet, but we have it. We're kind of sifting through what makes sense right now.
Cool. Oh, yeah. I think, our company's been around 6 months, 7 months. And so, our sweet spot is more the mid to larger enterprise, but we're doing a lot with the smaller because I think with any product, you can learn a lot from any partner. So we're kind of open and wanting to learn as much as we can from the different partners.
What about like some bigger catalog places like LL Bean or Frederick and places like that? Is that
Yes, they're in our wheelhouse as well. And we're doing a lot with the Shopify Plus customers
Are
and then
those
starting
two of
to.
your customers?
I'm sorry?
Are those two of your customers?
No, they are not. LL Bean's not a customer, but yeah, we're doing stuff with Shopify Plus and larger retailers as well.
In other words, even like the Dillards or something, whatever, they find it's easier to go through you than to.
I mean, we are seeing that, and that's kind of where we're evolving and continuing to target and build out. Cool. Great.
What's the refresh rate on the data, say for quantity, SKU, or pricing info?
It's real time. I mean,
It's real time?
Yeah, it's real time. Cool. Well, great. Like I said, feel free to shoot me an email if you want a demo or give me a call, and love to give you a demo. And particularly if you have a store, we can always kind of bring it to life on an app on a short 30-minute call.
There's no upfront cost?
Correct. There is no upfront cost.
Awesome. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. I'm gonna steal your juice probably. So no deal there? All right. Well, KJ is not here, but I'm going to give a shout out to Steelhouse anyway, because that's one of our sponsors. We love the sponsors. It's actually cool, like I said at the beginning, when we work with sponsors that are companies that we actually use, Steelhouse being one of them, Feedonomics being one of them, Shopify being one of them. And then after I'm done bumping my gums here, we'll have Travis come up from Justuno and talk about their platform, which is also really cool. So, see if this actually pans out. One thing, too, if anybody wants to nerd out about the web versus app experience, right? I think that was your question. I've read so much stuff recently that says the internet will be totally non-discernible from what it used to be inside of like 10, 15 years. It'll be all app-driven, right? We'll still use the internet, of course, but like the idea of going to a URL to experience things is going to be pretty seriously diminished. And the big guys, Google and Apple in particular, are pretty dead set on that as sort of an MO. So, yeah, exactly, right? And because then they can control the entire user experience. And so, anyway.
Do we want them to control us? I'm not sure about that.
I don't want anybody to control me, right? Clearly, right? But that's a longer conversation, I'm sure. But anyway, it's cool. Good. I'm going to talk about, I think the schedule says I'm going to talk about Kickass digital marketing on any budget. Is that ballpark right? Let me get a sense of the room. I've got a few folks here that are vocal, asking a lot of questions. Presumably you have an e-commerce store. Not sure what you do. How many of you sell something online? Just show of hands. How many of you are developing an app of some kind? What do the rest of you do? Okay. Anybody else? You're not in trouble or anything. It's a curiosity question. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Good. Just want to know the room. I mean, what I'm going to talk about is specifically as it relates to e-commerce, but it really has to do with digital marketing online. I believe everybody at some point in their life has taken a psychology course, or at least heard in loose reference the idea of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Is this true? Give or take? Again?
I've got a friend that has psychology hearing.
There you go. Somebody's got like a guy who's had a couple beers and doing psychology and whatever. The basics of this are really simple. This is Tony's hierarchy of e-commerce, and then I'm going to do a little bit of Google Analytics at the end as well, which I think is relevant for every kind of business that there is, period. I think Google Analytics is probably the most underutilized free tool on the planet. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, don't need to go into tons of detail here, but the basics of it is you can't move on to the next thing until you have that first layer of the pyramid, right? Until your physiological needs are met, until you're fed and you're properly hydrated and physically satisfied and you've got shelter and things like this. Then you move into safety, and then you move into the idea of community and belonging and and love, and then it's about your esteem, and then it's about self-actualization, and there's some models that show transcendence and nirvana above and beyond that. And again, different talk for a different night. But Tony's hierarchy of e-commerce is a little bit more rudimentary. It's not quite as esoteric. Really simple, okay? At the bottom of the pyramid, you got to have a good product. You got to have a good service, if that's what you do. You have to have a good brand, and I'll explain these things, and you have to have a good website. If you don't have those things, there's no point in moving up the chain, right? Then you have to have good email. You have to have good retargeting. And there's no point in moving up the chain until you have those. And then you have to have good traffic acquisition. You have to have social proof. And then you have to have some money, right? Money comes and goes pretty freely once you've got the rest of the pyramid dialed in. You can, of course, do all these things in concert. You can do all these things at the same time. But for those of you, especially that are in the startup mode, that are in the lean startup methodology, that are capital constrained, it's really important you set a foundation. I think everybody falls in love with traffic acquisition. Everybody falls in love with, how do I get more people to my store? How do I get more people in front of my brand? It's wrong. You're just wrong, categorically, right? And I'll tell you why in a second. So if you look at this product, service, brand, website base layer first, product or service is the most important thing. Who does it satisfy? I think a lot of people go to market with a product without thinking adequately about who they're actually servicing. How does it meet those needs? Who will use this product? When will they use it? Where will they use it? What does it look like? How do customers experience it? Frankly, our agency started as the result of me and my business partner both having various experiences on the brand side, just not being able to find an agency that did the shit that we wanted to do. We were like, why won't anybody just give us a month-to-month contract and bang out the shit that we need that we're not good at? Let's start an agency, right? Clearly a hole in the market there. If you're another t-shirt company that does cool screen printed stuff, there's 1,000 of them, right? If you're gonna do, we're gonna do prescription eyewear, direct to consumer. Cool, been done. They're killing it, right? We're gonna do a subscription box with neat snacks and they're gonna be organic this time. Fine, that's also been done. I'm not shitting on anybody for any of those things. What I'm saying is that find some novelty in what you're doing, right? Find some purpose about your product or service and make sure that there's a need for it, and make sure that it's differentiated from your competitors in some way, shape, or form. There's a great book called 0 to 1 by a guy named Peter Thiel that I recommend highly, right? That's sort of about this concept. This is a quote from David Ogilvy. You can see it on the slide. I don't need to reiterate it. But the idea is that everybody's trying to buy something and they're exchanging money for it. And unless it has value, nobody's going to give a shit, all right? When it comes to your brand is how you're perceived, right? It's who you are. It's how people see you in the market. I run a company called Hawke Media. I have a Nicolas Cage Mona Lisa t-shirt on right now. Doesn't bother me a bit, right? I'm also published in Cool Things. That's fine. That's our brand, right? We're a shorts and flip-flops agency in Santa Monica, California. We do kick-ass work. We have 3 philosophical beliefs. We get shit done. We learn quickly, and we're cool, period, right? That's fine, right? As long as you know who you are and what you're about, that's your brand. You can run with that. If that's not who you are, if you're suit and tie, you're buttoned up, or if you're a product brand, or you're a product that's like really specific and you're tech heavy, that's great. As long as you know who you are, and you should know why anyone should care. What's it called? How's it perceived? How do you want to be perceived? What's the look and feel of your brand? If I talk about, it's a hot summer day here in Texas, which is hot, by the way. It's really hot here. It's a hot summer day, and everyone else is like, really? Right? No, trust me, it's warm. And you're on the beach, or you're at the park, or you're hanging with your friends, or you're doing whatever. You reach into an ice cold cooler, you pull out your favorite soda. It's a boom, right? That's a brand. All of you thought of one. There's something about sentiment that makes sense. You're driving down the road on your way home from work. Traffic just busted loose. All of a sudden, you've got a couple turns in front of you. You mash the gas. You're in a nice, comfy leather seat, pulling into turns. Really hear that engine. You're driving a boom, right? Everyone's got a sentiment attached to what that looks like. That's a brand, right? If you don't have that, don't bother going forward with the rest of this stuff. And it doesn't need to be totally understood from the consumer standpoint. It does need to be understood from your standpoint. You need to have a vision. You need to have an identity about what these things are. It doesn't cost a dime to have some purpose about what you're doing, right? This is my favorite commercial. I wonder if this is going to work. Yeah. It's my favorite commercial in the last 5 years, probably. I don't know if there's audio. Is there audio? Oh, shit sandwich, there's not
I'm
audio.
veterinarian.
Can you hear it okay?
Nope, I'm Dr. Brooklyn. See?
I'll get out of the way.
Oh, here, let me see. Good morning, everyone. I'm your new coach. My name is Maddie. Nice to meet you. I had the most fantastic day in the office. You'll never believe what happened. We got that new business I wanted. Have you ever seen him fly?
Have you seen what?
Fly?
No.
My cat can fly.
Okay.
The dog's brain can't think as much as the human's brain because there's no high school for the dog. This is Peter, the Triceratops. Peter is 1 year old. The T-Rex, Sally, is 1,002,252 years old. Knees up like a unicorn. Higher, higher. I've been to New York, Transylvania, Pennsylvania. We can think and do lots of stuff with our brain. Now, does anybody know how big the brain is? Anybody? Sophia. It is medium. Medium. Very good.
So the idea behind this is prior to this commercial, they hired a new head of brand, right? They hired a new guru who was going to rebrand Barbie. Prior to this, Barbie was all about shitty body image and putting out there an unrealistic expectation for women. They dropped this during the Super Bowl and everyone was like, oh, that's what Barbie is, right? I don't know how many of you still play with Barbies. No offense to anybody that does. Jesus. We've got an autoplay thing happening. That's my playlist. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that's really important, right? To understand, and someone really good, really thoughtful about it can do it with one national ad, or at least can move in the right direction. Since then, they had a somewhat controversial issue about a commercial that featured a boy playing with Barbies, and they've done a lot of things in the way of moving in the opposite direction of sort of putting forth an unrealistic body image and sort of what they were capped on in the past for. And that was the beginning of it, the genesis of it, which I thought was really fucking good, right? So that's your brand. Next one's your website, right? Website stuff, like what Ed's talking about, that's really money. I mean, that's a really great platform. Truthfully, totally unbiased. I just think that's a really cool idea. But I think that what's important about a website is mostly just that you get out of the way, especially when it relates to buying a product or service. I think it's really important that you let your product or service do the talking and make the experience as slick and greasy as possible. There's a lot of platforms that you can mess with now as far as navigation. I actually saw something on Fiverr. One of the guys in our office, who's probably watching on that stream, recommended that there was a guy who would get drunk and navigate your website for $5, right? You guys know what Fiverr is? Fiverr's a great tool, especially if you're scrappy and trying to figure some stuff out. There's a guy that would just drink a bunch of beers, try and navigate your website, and record the whole thing. It seems silly, but pretty good feedback. If you're not into that, there's also a ton of platforms, not Newegg, but something Egg, Crazy Egg is one of them. There's another one that I'm forgetting that kind of shows, there's one that actually records where people are navigating on your site. See if it's navigable, see if your website is usable. Does it echo your brand identity and your vision? Can you easily update, add product, edit pages? I think people, again, sort of look aspirationally at oh, we need a Magento build for this e-commerce site. Why? You use Shopify, it's amazing, right? Use BigCommerce, use Pinnacle Cart. There's 1,000 things you can use. No need to go crazy. Make it easy, make it simple, get out of the way. And then there's some SEO stuff, which is a massive conversation in addition to this, which I'm not going to get into. But for anybody that's sort of neophyte in the world of SEO and you've heard the term battied around a bunch, just go Google Beginner's Guide to SEO. There's an awesome document, PDF, website, whatever, published by Moz, which is a big leader in the space. Just read that and actually understand that. SEO will certainly be easier from there on out. So that's that. So once we have those things, then now we've got a store. We're ready for prime time, right? It's like throwing a party, right? You want to clean up, vacuum a little bit, wipe down some counters. Now we're good, right? Now all the people that are coming there for whatever reason, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family, maybe it's some people off the street, whatever, you need to have a good email and retargeting system built. And this is important because even if you have a great website that converts, let's say 3% of the traffic that comes there into a buying customer or into a lead of some kind, or they click a box that says, yes, I'm interested in whatever awesome thing that you're doing. If you're not doing retargeting or you're not doing email capture in addition to this, you're losing 97, 98, sometimes more percent of your traffic, right? Again, this is why people, I think, make the mistake of jumping into traffic acquisition too early. On the capture side with email, do you have incentivized email capture? Are you running contests or sweepstakes? Are you doing non-incentivized? Are you doing it based on brand alone? Depends on your company, right? We work with a company called Buscemi. They make $1,200 sneakers. They don't offer discounts in their email capture, right? They're aspirational. They're like, you should be lucky enough to buy our shoes, right? If you want to hear about when we release new ones, sign up for this email list. Otherwise, get out of here, right? Not in that tense of a tone, but they're very much, I think their tagline is obnoxiously high quality goods, right? So that's who they are, right? And then we also work with companies that are like, sign up for our list, get 30% off your first order. And if they don't buy something in the next 3 days, there's an automatic email that comes out that says, how about 40%? And then 7 days after that, it's like, we'll give it to you for free. Just let us send you something, right? Again, exaggeration, but it depends on your brand, right, and how you're doing this. Justuno is a great platform for email capture. They allow you to split test a lot of different ideas, and I think it's great. There's 3 components of email marketing in my mind. Promotional email seems to be the one that most people sort of perceive as what email marketing is, which is, hey, we're having a sale. Hey, it's Father's Day, buy some shit. Hey, it's Tuesday, here's that newsletter that you don't want again. Whatever that is, that's sort of categorically promotional email, and it's very bad, just from an open rate, response rate, engagement rate, purchase rate standpoint. It's very bad relative to automation, because automation is based on right time, it's based on behavior, it's based on segmentation, it's based on some level of intelligence and personalization. We're all smart enough now as consumers, we're savvy enough that when you get that kind of batch and blast email, you're not gonna respond to that. Very rarely are you gonna respond to that. If it's a significant enough discount, or the call to action is, steep enough, then maybe, or if you're just brand new to receiving email promotions, but in all likelihood you're not, right? So that's where automation comes in. Automation is more like, once you sign up for an email list, whether it's incentivized or not, what does the first email look like? What happens if that person opens the email? What if they don't? What if they don't open the next one that you send? What if the person that opens it didn't buy anything? What do they get? What about the person that opened it and went to the checkout page but didn't convert? What do they get, right? All those things are different messages that you should be crafting all along the way. Again, free, just time, right? It doesn't cost you anything to develop a plan, and there's a lot of cool platforms that will allow you to do this. MailChimp is less successful in the segmentation and automation space as some other platforms that I've seen. I like Klaviyo, they're also a partner. There's another one, dang it, I think it's, I want to say Adestra, but that's gonna be wrong. Marissa's gonna yell at me. There's a lot of cool email platforms that are out there that allow you to segment and send based on what somebody's doing either on site or with your emails. And that's the way you should build out automated email. And then there's transactional. Cart abandonment is free money. If you sell something online or you have a service online and people get to that final stage of whatever it is that you're offering and you're not sending them an email if they don't complete that conversion event, you must not like money. That is the easiest, lowest hanging fruit that we see categorically across companies of all sizes. Big companies, big companies, small companies. Everybody's doing cart abandonment wrong. That's a huge statement. No, that's not true. We find a lot of companies could be doing it better, right? Could be, again, more segmented, could be more robust, could be more right time, could be better follow-up. Again, this is automated stuff. There's infrastructure costs in terms of time up front, but pays big dividends down the road. And I think that the cart abandonment side is a big opportunity. One of the things that Amazon does better than anybody else, by far, order confirmation, shipping confirmation, customers that bought that also like this. Hey, do you want to come back and review this thing? And there's some more cool stuff here. All that post-purchase solicitation stuff, it seems like they're being of service. You're like, well, that's cool. They let me know my stuff's on the way. No, they let you know that they're there still, in case you want to buy some stuff, right? It's the same kind of thing. Like, hey, we let you know that you bought this. We let you know that we shipped this. We let you know that it's about to show up. We let you know that it showed up. Hey, you've had it for a week now. What do you think about that? Do you think that's them just like being super concerned about your customer experience? That's them soliciting you for more opportunity to sell, to buy, to do whatever, right? I think it's important to keep in mind that transactional email is a huge opportunity. Retargeting is the other side of these things, right? Retargeting is, oh, it's good. Cookies. That was the point of that. Cookies. Does everybody know what cookies are at this point? Okay, good. 2016, a lot of young internet users. Maybe not. I don't know. We had a few in the back. That's true. They went quickly. Everywhere you go, you're being cookied all the time, right? There's tons of different little nuggets in your browser about what you do, what you buy, where you go, what you don't like, what you do. Retargeting is amazing. It's just so efficient from a cost standpoint. When you do start to spend money on your company, on your brand, on your service, whatever it might be, retargeting is just the most efficient way to do that. It's so good. If somebody's already been to your site, they've already spent any amount of minutes, seconds, whatever, and you send them some right time messaging, you can do this in a couple different ways. You can do it dynamically with the specific product that they looked at. You can do it from a brand standpoint. You can do it differently to the people that have visited your site in the last 6 days versus in the last 7 to 30 versus in the last 31 to 90. Again, you can segment and make sure that your messaging is at the right time in the right place for the right kind of consumer. Retargeting is massive. There's big third-party services that do this. Criteo, AdRoll, Steelhouse, one of our sponsors, a number of others. You can also go directly through the exchanges. It's really not that complicated, right? The cool thing about Facebook and Google in particular, there are no better documented platforms on earth than Facebook and Google. Not just what they publish as companies about how their platforms work and about how you can use them, but the absolute tens of, probably hundreds of millions of posts and resources that are out there about how to leverage these technologies. I was once talking to somebody about Facebook, and they're like, yeah, they seem to make it like really hard to advertise. I was like, they have 1 billion users, and their profit model is based on ads. Like, they make it really, really easy to advertise. Like, it couldn't be easier to advertise somewhere than on Facebook, right? And retargeting is an element of that we see convert really well. We see the Google Display Network work well in terms of impressions. We just see less effective straight line conversion, especially in the e-commerce space, especially fashion e-commerce in particular. There's loads of third-party retargeting platforms and information out there. So again, do your digging on this stuff. I'm going to do sort of a survey course here and all this shit, and then you're going to ask me questions later if you feel like it. All right? But retargeting, easy money. Absolutely got to be doing it. Now moving into traffic acquisition. Traffic acquisition is what happens after you've built a good mousetrap. And traffic acquisition is the part that most people are familiar with and most people are in love with, and most people have these ideas about how they're going to make happen through some magical wizardry that's never been done in the history of the internet, and it's just them and their creativity. The reality is that there's some really tried and true things here. Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's in the same ad platform as Facebook now. Super accessible, super easy to use. You'll continue to see that stuff come down the pipe from, Pinterest was really inaccessible a long time ago. That's pretty easy. LinkedIn was really inaccessible a while back. Pretty easy, depending on if you're a product or a service company. Display ads, paid search, there's affiliate. TV and radio. We ran some TV ads. I was shocked by how cheap they were. People kind of forget about the fact that there's this massive thing called television that millions of people still use on a daily basis. It's not just about digital. Now, of course, you don't have straight line attribution in the same way that you do in the digital space, and so that makes some people uncomfortable. Given your sort of life cycle or your growth stage, that'll make a difference. There's podcasts, there's print, there's billboard, there's PR, there's SEO, there's social engagement through Snapchat. Everybody seems to be in love with, but it's really hard and time consuming. Taboola and Outbrain are great content amplification platforms that most people don't leverage. If you write a great blog, you can use Taboola or Outbrain to basically promote that blog at the bottom of other articles that you see across the web on various sources. I think that's a huge opportunity for people, especially. What's up?
Is one better than the other?
Outbrain. Cool. Forums, Reddit, Quora, things like this where you can express expertise, specific domain knowledge. Again, especially the more niche product or the niche opportunity or niche service you have, it's a great place for you to establish yourself as credible. Reddit is a fierce community. I don't know how many Redditors, I'm a Redditor, are in the room. I'm just curious. A couple, right? That's good. No, that's about the right ratio, right? But if you try and hawk your wares on Reddit, you will get pounded into the earth, right? But if you're expressing an opinion or some specific expertise around something, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, full disclosure, I run a marketing agency, but I also know a shitload about this thing that we're talking about, so I'm going to say that, right? That'll generally, fly, I think. I'll ask the...
Not unless you find the right way.
All right. Well, again, I can't claim hardcore Redditorship or coreness or whatever they're called. I don't know. But they're great. They're great platforms, I think, if you have something to say about a specific area. If you're like, my sunglasses are the best because they're the best, you're just going to get hammered, right? So just be cautious of that stuff. But anyway, friends and family, there are still some folks out there that, kind of brand themselves as growth hackers or growth experts or, I don't know. I think there's this whole kind of subculture of people that identify as like outside of the normal acquisition channels, which I think is great. I truthfully do, right? I think that there's something for that. I would just be cautious about what those methodologies are and what sort of track record those things have, and be aware that every single brand, every single product, every single service that acquires traffic through a growth hack is novel and unique from next to next, right? Everyone's like, oh, Dropbox gave away free stuff when they first started, and they said, if you tell a friend, we'll give you 5 megs or whatever the thing was at the time. And then everyone's like, yeah, let's do that. Let's make friends, give friends free stuff. And it's like, well, that worked in a very specific time in a very specific place for a very specific product. Not everything follows that same model, so just be cautious of it. But traffic acquisition, you can do in myriad ways. I'm not even honestly going to spend a lot of time on this because it's, I think everybody knows most of these things, right? And then social proof as we move up. Social proof is the thing that you can be doing sort of in concert with all of these other activities. Social proof has to do with, I think, especially as a newer brand, newer product, newer service, you have to have some influencers. You have to have some people with some juice saying something positive or meaningful about you. If you're a brand new company going to market and someone Googles your product and the only thing about your product is your site and a paid result, that breeds some mistrust, right? If you have some really well respected blogger in the space talking about it, or they see your product on maybe their favorite Instagrammer's feed, or maybe somehow it ends up in a Snapchat of a celebrity that they dig. Those are things that are really, really meaningful for brand equity, and those are things that help you out. Press is sort of an ongoing thing. Reviews, I'm a big fan of generating reviews and generating a lot of feedback for your company, for your product, for your service, especially when you're young. And you can do this stuff from day one, like I said, pretty much for free, just through hustle, just by getting out there, getting in front of people, building some equity in yourself and your knowledge about whatever the thing is that you're doing. And then from there, it's really just, tying all those things together. But I think what's most important, what I'm trying to convey to most of you for this entire message is like, don't get out in front of yourself as far as building a foundation on which to build all these other things. Money will come next, and then when it comes to the actual tools, just remember everything is Googleable. Everything, right? Don't be a wimp. I say don't be a wimp because Jean-Claude Van Damme is punching this snake to death right now, right? If you have a product or a service that you're amped about, and a clear go-to-market framework about the things that you want to do, stop making excuses about it, right? I find that a lot of people have a lot of ideas and they're not willing to sort of put their big kid pants on and go to work every day and do the things that are necessary. There's no magic. There's no cool Snapchat thing that's going to come out and make sure your brand's in front of 1 million people. There's nobody that's going to sell you a service that's all of a sudden going to make your e-commerce conversion rate triple. It's best practices. It's blocking and tackling. It's doing the same things over and over again, and it's doing them a lot. So with that said, I'm going to talk about Google Analytics real quick, and then I'm going to yield the floor to Travis. Okay, how many of you have ever seen Google Analytics? I'll come back to you. What was that? Do that again. Okay, cool. On a scale of I've never heard of Google Analytics to I'm the best in the world, I'm going to just go up. How many of you are at a 0 or a 1? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cool. Best in the world. I'm excited about this. We'll talk later. I actually, from our conversation earlier, I wouldn't doubt that you're competitive. we'll talk, right? I think that Google Analytics, like I said just a moment ago, is probably one of the most underutilized free resources out there in the digital space, right? In digital marketing in particular. But as it relates to growing your business, I think the vast majority of companies, of entrepreneurs, just sort of glance over this. Oh, it's a free tool. It's a Google Suite thing, blah, blah, blah. Until you get to a pretty significant traffic level, it's not sampling your data. It's real data. It's real data about what's going on your site, about what's going on with your conversions, about what's going on with your revenue. And there's a lot of different things. I'm going to narrow the scope of this to just one very specific thing. If you learn nothing else, learn this. All right? Go to audience. Just kidding. Go to acquisition. Go to all traffic. Go to source medium. Come on. There we go. All right. And just start here. Just swim in this pool for a while. Okay? There are a lot of things you can do. You can change the date. Let's do it from the beginning of April, just for yucks. You can change the time horizon that's being reported. You can see this little button says day, week, month. Let's look at week. That smooths out the curve. Look at month. That smooths it out a little bit more, right? Because it's only a few months of data. Good things to look at. Good things to know. And then you can also look at comparative metrics. Let's say I want to compare this to the previous year. Again, just for entertainment value. And right now what I'm measuring is called sessions. Can you see this? Is this big enough? Probably not. Okay, cool. There's not one over there, so you guys are just going to have to strain. And if you have questions, we'll talk later. Let's say I don't care about sessions. I go, yeah, sessions. They're going to come, they're going to go. I care about e-commerce conversion rate. How well am I converting this business, right? Okay, good. Now I see a pretty distinct difference between what's happening this year compared to last. Let's say, oh, that's good. I want to know average order value, though. Is that the same or is that better? Well, about the same. Maybe even a little bit down. Let's smooth that out. Let's look at week. Okay, and then I've got numbers here to sort of support this. And then this one, for some reason, this just gets really like glanced over. These are actually tabs. If they made those tabs up here instead of little blue links, I think more people would use it. But if you go to this e-commerce tab, excuse me, and I'll take off this comparative metric just for the sake of this part of the conversation. If you look at this e-commerce tab, there's a lot of really interesting information. You've got sessions. Cool. Everyone knows what sessions are, right? Good. There's a little hover state here. Like I said, Google, pretty educational. You can find out what sessions mean. Revenue, by all these different sources. Transactions, average order value, e-commerce conversion rate, and per session value. How many of you have ever looked at per session value? 1, 2, 3, 4. Per session value is a really neat metric because what it does is it kind of shows you a blend between e-commerce conversion rate and average order value. Now I'm going to do some math, so everyone hang on, right? If I send a bunch of traffic to my site and it converts at 1% and the average order value is $100, the per session value is about $1. Great work, right? So if I convert 1% of my traffic at a $100 average order value, each session is worth about $1. If I send a bunch of traffic and 2% of it converts, but the average order value is $50, the per session value is about $1, okay? It's okay, great math in the room, I sense it, right? Solid skills. The point that I'm making here is that people fall in love with metrics, right? They go, we have a great average order. We have a killer e-commerce conversion rate. We have a super low bounce rate. Who gives a shit, right? What matters is on each person that you're sending to the site, are you getting a chunk of value that makes sense for your business objectives, okay? In this case, our per session value is around $1, right, for this company, which, whatever, it's a company. So this company gets about $1 on every single session that we send to the website. That's everybody. Email, Facebook, organic, paid search, affiliate, boom, bam, whatever. Name a source, right? And then you can see by source all these different ones that are sending us quality traffic, sending us decent value. Facebook CPC, we have this at 66 cents. So what that means is that if I'm running Facebook CPC campaigns, right, as long as I'm getting clicks for less than 66 cents, that one-time transaction is profitable, right? I'm banking on lifetime value to maybe make up for the rest if I've got a margin or if I've got some overhead to cover. But this is a nice proxy to see what you can afford to pay for a visitor from all these different sources, right? If you've got organic, if you've got paid search, if you've got affiliate links in here, all kinds of different stuff. Now, if I were a curious kitten and I wanted to know where's the best traffic coming from, right? Where's the highest per session value? I just sort and I go, okay, this one's got $97.98 per session. Let's do more of that, right? But there's only one session, so that's not really a good way to look at data, right? Instead, we would want to say, okay, well, we've had 3,000 transactions during this reporting period. What's a statistically significant number of transactions, right? We don't need to do like a bell curve and go into it. Let's just say 10 for the sake of conversation. I don't care about traffic sources that have sent me less than 10 transactions. So you go into advanced and you say, I want to include transactions that are greater than 9. Now let's look. And now we see, oh, shout out. Do you see what the number one source is? Justuno.com referral, right? $8.69, not on purpose, by the way. This isn't a plug, right? Truthfully, I'm freestyling this whole analytics part. The $8.69 is coming from our Justuno leads, okay? That's awesome. We want to do more of that, for sure. Now, there's only 782 sessions, so I'm going to have to look in and figure out how I can drive up that session number. But on a per session value basis, that's phenomenal. ECR is 16%. This BBS abandoned checkout series, that's an email series. Remember when I was talking about email and cart abandonment and the importance of that? 17% of the visitors coming from that source are converting, and that gives me an $8.40 per session value. Fantastic. Share a Sale is an affiliate platform. That affiliate's performing well, 7.5 e-com conversion rate, $4 per session value, and you can go down the list here, right? And when you start to understand the relationship between these things, it's kind of helpful, right? And you can really look at that. So that's that part. The other thing that I will say about this, going back to sessions, unfiltered, and then I'll give this up and we can talk about this later. If I want to look at a campaign like, how many of you know what UTM tags are? High hands again. Just want to get a percentage. About a third, half maybe. UTM tags are great. Anytime you place an ad anywhere or anytime you have a link anywhere, you should use a UTM tag, especially if you're using Google Analytics. It basically allows you to specify what the campaign, what the source, what the medium is, and then when you're looking in Google Analytics, you have a treasure trove of data about the things that you've done. So if I look in Facebook CPC, I go, okay, cool, I've run some CPC campaigns, that's one line of data. What most people, again, I find miss is this secondary dimension button, right? If I say, I want to look at these Facebook CPC efforts and what generated $40,000 in revenue in the last little bit, however long it was, I want to look at the secondary dimension of campaign. I want to see what my most successful campaigns were, right? And so showing you a little bit of how the sausage is made, at least at Hawke, is if we look at per session value, we can see that LBGT men, I don't know what that is, I don't know what the point of that campaign was, but I know that it converted well, had a great per session value. Retargeting desktop test, that was just a test, it was only one transaction. So again, we're having the same problem. We've got 709 transactions here. If I wanted to look at the best on a per session value basis or on an ECR basis, maybe I would say that I only want to look at those campaigns that had at least 3 transactions. You guys all with me, or am I losing everyone? Cool. Great feedback. Jesus. All right, per session value that's high. Dynamic ads, Canada copy. Apparently we're targeting some folks in Canada. Awesome. Lookalike US purchases males. So we ran a lookalike audience to people that bought something in the United States. Retargeting Feb last 21, I don't know what that means. Probably people that we sold something to in the last 21 days. Anyway, you can look in at the campaign level. Last thing, and then I'll move on. The other thing that you can look at here in a secondary dimension is literally anything, right? Like let's say we want to see where, am I spelling this right? Landing page. It's got to be one of them. Here we go. Landing page. So I'm running a Facebook CPC campaign, and I want to see which landing pages are actually converting most efficiently, right? Per session value, if I'm driving people to the checkout page, that's obviously pretty good. Checkout processing, I don't know why we're running ads to a checkout page. That's something glitchy. Cart collections. If we look down here, collections, blue rings, index, collections, rings. And again, we can look through and go back to not having this filter on that has at least 2 transactions or whatever, and we can see all this stuff. Or if we want to look at which landing pages had the best e-commerce conversion rate, or if we want to go back to sort of our regular summary explorer instead of the e-commerce report, we can then look and we can see which ones have the lowest bounce rate. And you can really get weird in here, I guess is what I'm trying to say as it relates to Google Analytics. There's a tremendous amount of stuff that I think people gloss over. And then, also this. If you have a Google Analytics account and you sell something online, go to admin, go to e-commerce settings. I cannot tell you how many large companies I've worked where this button says off, right? Shit you not, right? We're like, oh, let's take a look at your analytics. We jump in, no e-commerce data. They're like, why aren't we tracking? And I'm like, watch this, boom, right? Like, now we're tracking, pay me, right? Not quite that simple, but anyway, look in there. Just make sure you're tracking that stuff. Again, if you have questions around any of this, I'm happy to hang out afterwards and chat a little bit. And then what an awesome introduction for Travis to talk about optimizing your site for conversion from Justuno, the referral source that I inadvertently showed as the most effective for this brand. So yeah, Travis, come on up and chat about that.
I don't need to talk about it. You pretty much said it all at that top one.
Did the whole thing right there.
I need.
Where's your? Oh, there you go.
We have another.
Somebody across the hall was seeing the presentation for a second there. So.
Oh, really?
Right on.
All right. So my name's Travis Logan. I am the co-founder and CTO of a company called Justuno, which Tony pointed out. We are an on-site promotion platform. So we are a quick embed code away from you being able to present promotions on your website when and where it makes sense. And that, as far as making sense, it can come down to the user segment, of course, that we'll jump into a little bit later here. You guys have seen them all over the place every day when you're browsing online. Sometimes you're cursing at them, but they are very effective, and these are on-site promotions. And I'm talking about the overlay pop-ups that come up on a website while you're browsing, hopefully at the right opportunity and it didn't piss you off. You see them when you try to exit a site, and it tries to capture that last dying try for you to stay there. Either way, they are extremely effective, and that's why you're seeing more and more of them on websites. We are not limited to just e-commerce retail websites. It works very effectively on content publishing sites, on SaaS software sites, so keep that in mind. There we go. What we're going to cover today, I'm going to kind of skim over the basics of CRO. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with it. I did have a question. How many of you are today using on-site promotions of any kind, whether it's a coupon-based, an email newsletter sign-up type promotion, anything like that? We have a show of hands? A couple? All right, so got like 10 or so. How many of you have ever considered using it and were turned off? We have probably about the same amount of people. Okay, maybe I can change those minds. So we're going to talk a little bit about CRO in general, and then also more and specifically what that means in having to do with on-site promotions and what they can do to raise your conversion rates. We are going to talk about what's working for retailers and SaaS companies in this space. And then actionable quick wins. So there's things that you can do today. There's things you can do within 20 minutes that will immediately raise your conversion rate on your website without spending a dime, without giving a dime away in the means of coupons. These promotions aren't always based around giving out a coupon or a free item or anything like that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then who we are, we'll probably skip over that. We're obviously a bunch of drinkers and partiers, right? So, what is CRO? CRO, it's another acronym, yay, right? But it's one of the more important acronyms, one of the most important acronyms that in this sector, in this industry, that you want to always be thinking about. So conversion rate optimization generally is making your preferred user actions more optimized, having them happen more often and in the right direction that you're hoping to, whether it be in your funnel, whether it be on an email that you sent out, or in a promotion, on-site promotion, pop-up, anything like that. So why is it important? Why is on-site promotions important? And I'm going to get into this right now. Right now, generally, for every $92 that are spent generating that traffic to your site, $1 is spent on converting that traffic that you spent all this money on into converting them into a sale. So that $92 is great, but tomorrow, that same $92 that you're going to spend tomorrow is going to generate less traffic. And that's because of the inherent just force of competition. That's that growing bubble of competition that you always have. Now, that every dollar you spend on your on-site conversion, it compounds daily. So it's not like what you spent yesterday is gone out the window today. What you spent yesterday is helping those people that you're paying the $92 to come today. What you spend today compounds that. So I want to educate and get you guys into thinking, spend a little bit more on your own site in converting that crowd, because it's going to get harder and harder and harder to drive that traffic. It's going to get more expensive to drive that traffic to your site. And it's obviously key. You've got to have that traffic, and that's, as Tony pointed out, I mean, that's always the big thing that people are thinking about. But converting that traffic can be done a lot easier, a lot quicker, and a lot cheaper. Of your paid digital marketing, your digital marketing channels, email consistently has the highest conversion rate generally. I mean, some industries are gonna fluctuate. Behind email, a lot of times is organic search. Behind organic search is social. Behind social is paid. Sometimes paid can certainly be higher up in that, but that's in general where it comes down to. So again, building your email list, and Tony touched on this in his hierarchy, his pyramid scheme, as you will. Not a scheme, just a little cat. So he touched about social being kind of towards the top and waiting till you build those foundations first before building your social audience, your social proof. Also, even his email part was, I think, slated at number 2 or 3 in that. So he mentioned that you want to start at the bottom, work your way up, which I totally agree, but at the same time, there's still things you can do very easy today using a platform like ours, so you can focus on the bottom of that pyramid while you're getting started, but at the same time still be building your email and still be building your social proof without really having to lift much of a finger. So we'll jump into that too. Abandoned carts. So 68% of the people that hopefully make it to your cart even, which I call third base, are not gonna make it around to the home plate. So there's lots of things. Tony, again, he touched on shopping cart abandonment, but he more touched on it from a standpoint of sending out that email to those people after they've already abandoned your cart to recapture that sale, that potential sale, which is great. I mean, like he mentioned, you'd be dumb if you're not thinking that, if you're not doing that. Why you don't like money if you're not doing that. A big component to that, of course, you can't send them an email unless you have an email to send. That's where a platform like ours comes into play. We allow you to very quickly in that funnel, whether it's the first page, second page, maybe 10 seconds into the first page, maybe when they go to exit your website, to throw up a promotion real fast, instantly, that entices them and engages them to enter their email address. That email address they just entered, whether it be for a newsletter, whether it be for signing up for a contest or something like that, it also can now be used to fuel that shopping cart abandonment system that you have, that marketing automation email system. So it's very important. So what's working for retailers today, SaaS companies? Targeting new visitors. You have 97, 98% of people that land on your site every day that you're not able to convert. Probably 60% of them, depending on, again, on your industry or your website, your specific website, 60% of them are probably new visitors. So they've never been on your site. You don't necessarily have to engage with them right away. That might be a turnoff, but there's lots of different things you can do. You can wait a few seconds into the first page, or you can wait until they go to a specific page. Maybe you want to target them if they came from a Facebook campaign and using the UTM campaigns and things like that. You can target that. Maybe they came from a specific website. All different types of things you can target on the new visitors. Targeting abandoning visitors. That's what I touched on. So I'm sure you guys have seen it when you go to the cart or the checkout page and you roll your mouse at the top of the screen. You get that instant offer. It says, "Don't leave. We will give you 90% off for if you give us your email address." 90% off, not necessary, but sometimes you can just immediately give a coupon code. Maybe you ask for an email address in return for a coupon code. Maybe you don't go with the coupon code at all, and you say, we're also hosting a contest at the end of the month. Sign up for our contest for a $200 gift card, whatever it may be. Again, that's going to fuel that re-email targeting of them. So it works both ways. Maybe you save that sale right there and then, and you don't have the need to email them to recapture that sale. Of course, you're going to email them in your other marketing campaigns, but the goal is to stop them from leaving the site then and there. If they do, maybe you at least got an email address out of it, so you can retarget, whether it been during the exit intent or because you hit them with a promotion at the beginning of the site or somewhere through the middle of the funnel. I just touched on that. So lots of different places you could target these users. I mean, maybe they get to a product page that's out of stock, and you have that button that says, with Justuno, you could put in a very easy button that just says, "Email me when this item's back in stock." Maybe you've looked at Google Analytics, and I'm going to touch more on what we're striving to do in the near future with our platform. But today, you could look at analytics and go, what's my top exit page for a mobile user, and what is the average time they spent on that top exit page? Comes out to 12 seconds on page xyz.htm. You could place a targeted promotion on that page, targeted to only show after 10 seconds or 11 seconds, and you can nail that customer before they're likely going to leave, because you know, based on data, based on the Google Analytics data that Tony was showing you, it's at your fingertips. So lots of cool things there. What we've learned. So here's a customer of ours that's been with us for a few years now, Isle Surfboards. They routinely do contests to their new visitors that land on their site. And they have a very high ticket item that they give away. In this case, it's a paddleboard, and that's generally what they sell. And you sign up for the email. They give it away once a month. When they did this campaign, they increased their email capture rate by 660%. So that's compounding. Don't forget too. They're increasing that 660%, and they're getting that many new emails a day. That when you do those numbers on the ROI in any world, it makes complete sense. So then we can move on. Evo, it's a big retailer, and they have used a very highly segmented audience. So they don't just do the cart abandonment. They have the cart abandonment rules with a bunch of other rules to make sure that they're only touching a very select group of people. But even with that tiny select group of people, they were able to reduce their abandoned cart by 8%. That's huge. They were, at the same time, they were able to increase their email signups by 103%. All of this while not giving out a coupon code. They're just giving out $200 gift card on June 30th. They started this promotion a couple weeks ago, I believe. So I can tell you they made more than $200 revenue within the first hour that they, purely based on this promotion within the first hour that they launched this. So here's another example of an abandoned shopping cart. This is probably one you see more often, the don't leave. So I touched on this before. This one doesn't gate anything. This literally just hands out a coupon code, and hope it's obviously just trying to keep you there and seal the deal and then check it, get you to home plate. Some things around the shopping cart abandonment is that you can almost tier it up as far as if you do offer incentives as far as coupons or discounts, you could tier it up. If you're using a shopping cart abandonment system as far as re-emailing them, you could do this and offer 10% at this point or 5% at this point. Maybe you capture the sale. Maybe you keep them there just with that. But remember, if you get their email address or have already previously gotten it and they still leave, you followed up with that email potentially with the coupon that's worth a little bit more. And hopefully you seal the deal with that.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Is online getting to be in this aspect as much as like retail, that unless it's on sale, I mean, consumers
Right.
are sophisticated, and
Yeah.
if they don't,
Well, you
they're
can
checking on if they don't think it's a good price, they're just not gonna buy.
you can thank Amazon for that one. So they're constantly pushing down the price on product. But yes, to answer your question is, and that's actually a pushback that we get a lot with our potential clients or clients for that matter, when they're still very reluctant about handing over a coupon to somebody who's already on their site, whether it's during the exit intent or a different portion of their site, because they're afraid that they're going to condition their customer to look for that coupon code, to not check out unless they have that coupon code. I have a news alert. If any of you guys haven't already realized, because you guys do it yourselves, we all do it. You go, when you're shopping online and you get to the cart page and you see that coupon field, that promotion code field, you've all done it. You open up that tab, a new tab, and you Google XYZ, whatever site you're on, in this case, Katoa coupon. And you see probably the first 5 results are gonna be like retailmenot.com and things like that. Then you go to retailmenot, you click on that link, and it probably shows 20 different coupons. You immediately go for the highest coupon. You copy it, come back here, and you paste it into the coupon code field, right? And then it says coupon code expired, doesn't work, invalid. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna try another one. Coupon code expired. Maybe you try a third one, maybe you don't. What happens is there's several things that just happened. That coupon code, you never got one that worked. And now you feel like you're getting gypped. The site didn't do anything to you. You feel like you're getting gypped because you know there's a coupon field, you know there's coupons out there. Retail Me Not showing that there has been coupons that no longer work. So you're like, maybe I should just wait this out. Maybe I'll check tomorrow. So that hurt your conversion rate. Whether or not you got a coupon code that worked or not, you also just got a sale where your affiliate, Retail Me Not, just got a payout from you if they're part of your affiliate network. And they didn't do any work for you. If anything, like I said, they could have hurt your sale. But they were already on your site. It's not like you got this traffic from Retail Me Not. So that was one of the main things that Justuno was born out of 5 years ago, was trying to disrupt the affiliate model for that pure reason. Because in a lot of cases, yes, they can bring you traffic, but in most cases, as we all know, they're actually they're stealing your traffic. They're stealing your customers almost. So yes, unfortunately, there's a conditioning happening, whether you like it or you don't. There's high ticketed item websites. Tony mentioned one, the $1,200 shoes. They would never consider anything of the sort, right? And their customers are a special customer, and it's not going to happen with those customers, at least not today.
Well, Macy's always gives coupons, Dillard's never does,
Mhm.
but they all have sales.
Mhm.
And things aren't on sale, they'll tell you people don't.
Right.
People don't
And
buy
if you
it, they wait for a sale.
Right, yeah. If you talk to somebody that works there, a salesperson, they'll say, no, come back on this day.
Yeah, and they'll hold it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're not just for retailers. Like I said earlier, we're for content publishing websites. Some of our biggest clients are that. You can use our promotion to steer somebody in any direction you need to within the site funnel. Maybe you want to steer them into the direction of registering on your website or signing up. Maybe you have a liquidation category. You have, if you're warehousing product, the cost of all those onesies and twosie items that are left that you're never going to restock and you need to get rid of them. Maybe you have a department within your website and you need to steer people to that. That's a great place for Justuno to make its appearances. From the homepage, or from maybe it detects that they're only looking at sale items or something like that, and it can show, hey, we have an outlet, we have a sales section, and have a CTA in there to bring them over to that. So we're going to talk about the new visitors, different methods. First-time visitors. You can target non-engaged visitors. So that means a lot of things. You could target people that are idle. You could target people who have never actually engaged with one of your existing promotions, and you could be specific with promotions. I haven't really gotten into the depth of Justuno yet, as far as you can have as many different promotions running at any time. In each promotion, you set up your different targeting and segmentation rules. So you could have your exit intent promotion that only shows when the user rolls their mouse up at the top of the screen from the cart page, while you have another one that slides up from the bottom left when they land on your home page. And you could say, this one, don't show this if they've engaged with this, and lots of different things like that. Delayed load time, you can do separate desktop for mobile promotions and targeting rules on top of that. I'm sure you guys are all aware, because it probably happened to you, whether you knew it or not, the exit intent. So it looks as simple as this, and a lot of other people in our space, it is as simple as this. Ours takes it a few steps further. It doesn't just work from the mouse. You can compound that with all kinds of different conditions that are necessary in order to see that promotion. We also just launched our first mobile exit. We're calling it exit with the back button. So essentially, you come from Google or any other site, and you land on your site, on the mobile site, or on your phone. And however deep you go in the site, whether it's one page or it's 10 pages, you want to go back to go back to Google. So you start hitting the back button. You get back to the point where you would have hit Google. No, you actually land on your home page with a promotion. So that's one way that we're actually able to bring exit intent technology to the mobile. Now, we have other things that we're working on as well that, again, are just smart in looking at your Google Analytics data automatically. This will be something that's done through programming that will look at your highest exit pages and, again, average time spent on, and lots of other different determining factors, and will display the promotion before they even know that they're intending to exit. Let's talk about holidays. So we've been trying to instill holidays in retailers, the use and effectiveness of holiday promotions. I personally come from a brick and mortar retail side, and we brought them online. So at that time, I learned a lot about how brick and mortars do retail. And it's something that online retailers in general are not doing as well as brick and mortars is the holiday. You walk into any store, any brick and mortar store in October these days, before Halloween even, and you already see Christmas stuff. There's a reason, it's because it sells. Any other holiday like that, maybe you don't go 2 months in advance, but you should go at least a few weeks in advance. So we're trying to empower and educate online retailers to focus and utilize holidays, and there's so many different holidays. I'm not just talking about the big holidays, I'm talking about the little ones too. There's just so many there that you can market around. And you have increased visitors, traffic, you have increased conversion rates around those holidays too. So with that said, when you log into justuno.com, you have a plethora of quick wins at your disposal right away. Quick wins being pre-built promotions, ready for you to click add this now. So here's a couple that we've had running for a little while now. You log in there, you want your 4th of July promotion, add this now. And we have different versions of that as well. We unlocked, locked versions, mobile versions. So you hit add this now, and it brings you into the design editor, brings this up. Make whatever tweaks you want real quick. We have a full WYSIWYG editor, drag and drop stuff. Maybe you want to change it from 20% off to 10% off. Maybe you want to get rid of the fact that it's a coupon-based type of promotion. And then also that pre-built offer already comes packed with best practice targeting rules and conditions built in. So it's ready for you to turn on. Same thing, you can see the Father's Day. We keep these up to date, and that's part of our really pushing the holiday promotions. Also with the holiday promotions, we partnered with Kit, which is now part of Shopify. It's one of their apps. I believe they acquired them. So what Kit allows you to do, it's really interesting, is it makes your phone a digital assistant. Kit is your digital assistant, but via your phone. It will text you when necessary from Kit as far as like, what can I do for you today? Can I run reports for you today? Can I create a Facebook ad for you today? So we partnered with it and integrated with them where we can remind you about upcoming promotions. You can get a text 2 weeks before Father's Day saying, hey, we have a beautiful pre-built Father's Day promotion ready for you to come in and activate whenever you're ready. And at the same time, it's a yes or no type response. So you can say, yes, turn this on, or yes, run a promotion Facebook ad campaign or something. So yeah, I mean, putting it all together, you can use our promotion to very effectively, immediately raise your conversion rates, to increase your newsletter email signups, reduce cart abandonment. We integrate with tons of different email newsletter systems. MailChimp you mentioned earlier, but also you mentioned Klaviyo. We integrate with them, and a lot of times we integrate so deeply that we're not just pushing the email address into their system when we acquire that from your end user. We're also pushing in all the other relevant session data, how much time they spent, what pages they visited, things like that. That way, systems like Klaviyo, the smarter marketing automation systems, can more accurately retarget them via the email campaigns. So that information is all very smart, and it's most of our integrations. We have 30, 40 plus integrations, I think, right now. I'll leave it on this. I did want to touch on one other thing regarding CRO in general. I wanted to touch on like a few don'ts, I guess. There's lots of do's, but a few don'ts I see that are very common. And I guess one of them, and what made me think about it was that Tony brought up his Google Analytics. He's going through it, showing you how much data you have at your disposal. When it comes to conversion rate optimization, focus on your problems, not on what you might have read in a CRO conversion article that says top 10 things or something like that. You should look at your Google Analytics, look at your pain spots, look at your drop-offs. It's all there, it's all ready for you. And make those decisions based on that data. Don't look at just your general conversion rate. And you'll see, hopefully, 2% plus, but maybe you see 0.5%, maybe you see 1.5%, and think, that's not high enough, I need to raise that. And then just start throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's the worst way you can go about it. You're gonna waste your time, you're gonna waste your money. Instead, look for the pitfalls happening specifically and address them one by one. Because as you address one, you're gonna open up, or you're gonna make it more aware of other bottlenecks, which is a good thing, because then you can address that one. And those things you can address a lot of times with the Justuno platform. Whether it's messaging modals, you could have a pop-up that literally says, hey, you're only $20 away from free shipping. Click here for great Father's Day gift ideas. And that can be a bar across the top, it could be a message down here, it can be something that's inlaid somewhere else. So lots of opportunities. So does anybody have any questions while I'm up here regarding? Sorry? Yeah, we have an app in BigCommerce, absolutely. So BigCommerce doesn't allow you to automatically embed the embed code, which is a small JavaScript snippet, but we have, it's very easy, and we have the supporting docs in our support portal to show you how to do that. If you copy because we have two different embed codes. We have a main one, and then we have the conversion tracking embed code. So if you want to use the conversion tracking embed code, yeah, that one you pretty much paste in that same spot, I believe, in BigCommerce. But yeah, we have apps in Shopify App Store. That's a one-click. That's a very quick install. That'll do the embed code and everything. Magento, all the major and a lot of the smaller e-commerce platforms already have apps. But regardless, it's one snippet of JavaScript that is required that you can just copy and paste it into the template usually the footer or the header of your website, so it's present on all your sites. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
You integrate with Infusionsoft?
We do. That's one of our many integrations. You can turn it on very easily, and then you can say which lists you want to push, and that's per promotion. So if you have 10 different Justuno promotions running, you might have all 10 of them going into different Infusionsoft lists. And that generally works the same for lots of our other email integrations. And like I said, we have 30 to 40 of those today. We also have something called our incentivized forms or embeddable forms, which even if we don't have an integration, you can copy and paste an HTML form from anywhere and paste it into our promotion, and it'll automatically parse it and grab all those fields and put them onto our design canvas, so that now you can drag and drop them and design them exactly how you want, hide some, make some required, and things like that, and launch that promotion. And that promotion, when they fill that in, that information they fill in will go directly to where that form would have posted it in the first place. But at the same time, you can incentivize it. So you could say, fill out this survey. Maybe you want to do a survey. You want to incentivize a survey. So fill out this survey and get an instant 10% off coupon, or fill out this survey and get entered into a contest, things like that. So, anything else? Any takers?
I did have one more question.
Yeah.
Can you customize the pop-up to where users who are logged into your website see one pop-up and visitors who aren't registered see a different one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So our targeting conditions, I would jump into it honestly, but I definitely don't have enough time to go through them. We have probably 50 or 60 of them at least, and you can mix and match, do and/or situations. So whether it's via geo targeting, language support, time of the day, local, like the exit intent, you can combine that with all that. There's just so many, whether you engage with this promotion or any promotion, this visit or any time or on this page, all kinds of great things like that. That's one of the things that separates us certainly from our competitors. I will too have this opportunity just to tell you again with the Google Analytics, we are weeks or less away from launching our new Google Analytic integration, which is going to open up a lot of doors for automation from our system to make it smarter on knowing when and where to show these promotions, or to educate you on when and where at the very least. Now, our initial launch actually brings a lot of the stuff that Tony was showing you right to your forefront within your Justuno dashboard. A lot of times Google Analytics turns people off just because they get in there and there's just so much you can gather. We decided to bring in the most important things to most retailers and bring it to the forefront, and then pepper in Justuno related data into that to show you how well and the ROI and everything that Justuno is providing. So that's one really fun new integration that hopefully will launch. It's supposed to launch a couple months ago, but it's actually right around the corner now. All right, well, I appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate Hawke Media for having us here at this event.
All right, last things, real quick. Got to give, once again, shout outs to Scott for putting the whole thing on. Scott, wave at everybody so they know who you are. This is our Hawke footprint in Austin. He's also just a good guy. I like hanging out with him, so that's good. Feedonomics is a sponsor. Steelhouse is a sponsor. Shopify is a sponsor. And then thanks again to Travis and Ed and Colleen as well for spending a little time with you guys today. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you didn't, at least you got some cookies and a sandwich. And I saw Scott put some more beers back in the cooler there. So if you guys want to grab a beer, hang out. I'm going to be around. I don't know about anybody else if you're going to answer questions and stuff like that. I think we're here until 9 or so, and then we're probably going to get shooed down into the lobby. But if you want to hang out, certainly feel welcome to, and I'd be happy to chat with anybody that wants to. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time, I feel that it's like you have time to use it, try to very yeah, I'm trying to work in two pieces. Yeah, so I'm working on work from work on two projects. One is short term. Right. That's the thing I would like to find. When is the right time for each one? For me, I would say I wanted to have one that is at least by the time I go back to the house, learn something. You have to feel the suffering well. I want to be so you're like, yeah, I have
conference room down here, which is kind of really cool. There's
Shopify never came up with an app. So are you gonna have a partnership with the app part with them? So if you sell from Shopify, you pay a percentage of Shopify if you're using the app. Got away with not that much. I don't know, people I talk to, they ask that, freestyle. Right? Somebody told me you didn't have to bank.